Hi everyone, welcome back. My name's Trish. I work at Schumacher Racing and I get asked questions very much about things to do with RC cars, and I wanted to answer one question which has been asked many times, which I felt I could do a nice little video on, and hopefully it will help you. Before we get going, don't forget to hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Hit the like if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, but it's a bit demotivating when you see that thumbs down come up, but it just makes me work harder to help you next time. As well as leave me a comment, let me know what you'd like to see in future. So I'm going to talk about basically 4 types of bearings that we look after at Schumacher Racing. I'm just going to get a bit more comfortable as we're here. I want to talk about what comes in your kit. So that's the red shielded bearing. I'll kind of do some more close-ups with the camera on this. But the red shielded bearing, or red sealed one, we don't have a little clip to get the size off on these. If we do, I can't see it. Basically that's filled with grease, and it's kind of a really good bearing. It's long life. It's good for, not saying that they're good at when they get wet and they survive, but they seem pretty well on keeping the water out and last quite a long time. That's that. You then get your, this has got the yellow shield on it, and the yellow shield is to let you know that it's the oil filled bearings, so they spin a bit easier, a bit faster, if you wanted to get some RPMs on there, and they're ones that you can rebuild and keep nice, and that's something we're going to talk about on the video too. You've then got your ceramic bearing, which has got ceramic balls in there. They're slightly harder than the tungsten carbide balls in there, and they allow it to roll a little bit faster as well, and you'll be able to get it spinning out really, really nicely. So that's that. And then the last one we do is, which is what we call our Pro bearing. So let's get it in view. Pro bearing, you want, why is it Pro? These basically German or Japanese bearings. It depends where we've sourced them from. And there's a tighter tolerance with these between the inner race and the ball and the outer race. So if things closed up a bit more, you'll get less rock from the inner race. Things just run better for longer. So it's kind of a really high precision bearing, and that's normally why there's a higher price tag attached to it. So that's that. This is the sealed ones. We do various ones with the metal shield, which you can get off. But you might have spent a fortune on your ceramic bearings and they're still good, but you want to keep them that way. Normally, to find out if they're any good or not, what I do is I get some pliers, I poke them into the hole of the ID of the inner race, and I push on the outer race, and I kind of try and find if there's like a pepper grinder feel to it. So there's this, okay, so I put that in there and I push on it, and what you'll find is that ones that are knackered, you'll feel this kind of like kind of this knocking kind of feel to it. I'll kind of try to give you a sound effect there, but that's not going to help you, is it? Whereas the nice ones, they just feel everything's seamless. It's so nice, super silky smooth, and all these bearings are new, and so therefore you won't have that issue. What I will say is, if you want to give them a clean and give them a flush out, because you've been using them for a while, let's look at getting the yellow cover off. And what I do is, I'll obviously do another shot of this anyway, so you can see a bit more. But basically on the yellow shielded bearing, okay, let's get that in view. We've got a ring on the outside which is touching onto the outer race, and what we can do is we can run a scalpel blade or get some tweezers to keep ourselves a bit safer. And all I do is I push that ring, and what I do is it literally pops out. It's like a circlip. It's so hard to get things there. You can see a little circlip there. Probably not, you probably can't see that, but that's that. That holds the outer race shield in, and we just kind of prod it around a little bit, and we can get that out as well. Just drop it on the floor here, and that's there. So that pops out there, and then that means you can see the open side of the bearings, which is great. It's hard to get things in focus half the time, but I do a separate shot for that again to make sure it's good. And you can see how dirty it is and stuff like that. And if you really want to go to town, you can take off both sides and get to that. And what I'd normally do is, if they're really nice still, but I want to give them a re-grease, but there's a bit of dirt in there from all the dust. We can drop them in one of these containers. Okay, we'll drop that in there. And I'm just going to get some brake cleaner, which is Bearing Blaster, and I'm going to fill that up. Okay. And that's in there now, and I'll sit that in there for a little while, give it a shake around a little bit, and we go from there. And then when we get it back out, we're going to put some oil back in. So that's now happened. Take that out. All the dirt would have gone away, or any old greases or anything like that that's not working so well. And the bearing should be very, very free. Okay. Okay, so you'll be able to hear this on camera, hopefully. But I'll give it a spin. There's literally nothing in there apart from alcohol, so it's literally no resistance at the moment. So a fantastic little bearing. But what we want to do is introduce some more oil to that. So I just need to make sure that that has no, well, there's nothing left in there. I don't think there's any alcohol left in there. You can give it a gentle blow. Yeah, just listen to it. Just keep spinning, which is fantastic. So I've got some LRP. This is Blue Factory oil. It's their oil number 2 that they have, and it's for bearings. And we have a small applicator here, and all we're going to do is we're going to put a drop in there, and I'm just going to, again, I'll do this on a separate shot so you can see it, and I'm just going to drop some in here. You don't have to do too much, just do like 3 or 4 small little drops. Just let that drop down there, and what I'm going to do is get it up in my fingers, give it a spin again until it's spinning nicely. And now, under the drag of the oil, it won't be spinning for days anymore. It will just be working as it should do, and the viscosity of that oil wrapping itself around the balls will be perfect for you. So now it's silent, can't even hear it anymore, but it spins very, very nicely. And all we do is we put the yellow seal back over the top. So we pop that back in place, that drops in there, and then we've got our circlip, which you can't really see that well, and we're just going to drop that in. And you can actually do that with your fingers if you're careful enough, and that just pings back into position, and you've now got a very, very lovely bearing that you know that has oil in it. It's all dirt free, and it will just keep your bearing nicer for longer. So if you've done a bit of running and your bearings still feel nice and you think, oh, I don't need to change them, well, that's fine, but it's worth getting them apart, you know. So that's one thing that I'd recommend, especially if you spent a load of money on ceramics as well. That's one thing that you can do with the red shielded bearings. You can't really get them apart, they're all sealed up. The whole idea is that they're kind of a bit more resilient to all the troubles of the world, but you could pick them off if you want and get some kind of oil in there, but they're packed with grease normally, so that's where you wouldn't really be aiming for that. Hopefully that's helped you. If you are bored and you want to spend a bit of time going through all your bearings and doing that, it will be really good for you. Like I said, I'm using the LRP, the bearing oil. So get yourself some and go have some fun making your bearings absolutely perfect. There's something satisfying about when you get your car to the track and everything is perfect. And this is one of the things you can do. Right, thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.